Hey Dragon Ball fans, welcome to the KameSennin School, and this is my review of Dragon Ball Daima Episode 4, Chatty. So Episode 4 opens with Goku, Glorio, and Kaioshin trying to figure out what to do now that their spaceship has been stolen. So they're going for a walk. Goku suggests flying, but Glorio reminds him that because the air is so thick that the flying is going to be a lot more difficult on their bodies. As they make their trek across the demon realm, they come across the Sea of Despair again, and as they're crossing this area of it, they are attacked by a giant creature. Glorio dispatches of it using more physical combat, leading Goku to make the assertion that Glorio might be even stronger than Kaioshin himself. And for those power scalers out there who love this kind of stuff, while we've never been given an official number for Kaioshin, most of the guidebooks put him around the strength of Cell Games Goku. That gives you an idea of how powerful Glorio potentially is. The gang ends up at a small town, and this is one of the areas, again, that feels the most Dragon Quest-like, the most RPG-like. It's really making me want to play an RPG, and especially a Dragon Quest game with Toriyama's art style. I'm watching this series so far, which is good. I'm not a huge JRPG fan. I've played them, I've enjoyed them in the past, but usually I only get an itch for them occasionally, and when I get that itch, I play something. So I think I'm gonna probably play like Chrono Trigger or something pretty soon because of this, but I digress. Once they are in the inn of the little city, it's like a shop area, and they're talking to the people, they're getting some food, and then they go shopping. And this is the part where we get what I hope is going to end up being Chekhov's gun. And what I mean by that is we are introduced to a bunch of different bugs that they use in the demon realm for different things. There's a healing bug, which, Goku compares to Sensu. But there's also a little bug that allows for combinations, which Goku compares to fusion. And if you look at the image, it shows that potentially 3 people can fuse. And I'm wondering if it's going to be more than that. I'm assuming it's just going to be 2 or 3 that can do it. That's an exciting piece of new lore and content, because there's been people wondering, would we see fusion in this series, and it seems like we might. And the fact that they're introducing these bugs means that whatever we see is going to be completely new. Whether we do get a fusion of Goku Vegeta, it's not going to be Vegito, and it's not going to be Gogeta. Maybe they'll canonize the name Veku for a new fusion or something like that. We'll see. Or even the hated Vigorot. I doubt that. But whatever we get, we're going to potentially get a new design and a new character. Or it may not even be Goku and Vegeta. It might be Goku and Glorio. It might be Goku, Glorio, and Kaioshin. It might be Vegeta and Piccolo. Like, we don't know what it's going to be. But again, that's interesting, and that dangling thread is kind of exciting. So hopefully it will get paid off. So once they are at the shop and they buy the items, they also buy some transportation. Now, transportation isn't really explained, but they're taken out back, and basically it's these giant seeds that they're going to ride on. And they get launched, they're riding on the seeds, and it reminds me of Tao Pai Pai on his pillar. It's just something whimsical that, again, just feels like OG Dragon Ball. And I'm just really enjoying this series. As someone who, again, grew up on the original, I watched the first season of the original Dragon Ball in the U.S. when I was a kid. I'm older, if you can't tell. It's part of the reason why it's called KameSennin School. Because back in the mid-90s, they played the first 12 episodes, so basically the Pilaf arc. And then, rather than continuing, they didn't even give us an opportunity. They just went straight to Z. And I remember being so upset that I didn't get to see how Goku got to this point in the story. I loved and enjoyed Z, but I was very sad to realize that, wait a minute, this is the same character. This is the character grown up. Like, what happened in those years? Like, how did he get from where we left off to here? But it's just been really enjoyable. So anyway, after they land with the seeds, they start going towards a town. We essentially see Goma's using his military in order to basically disrupt things. They're collecting higher taxes from the people in the demon realm. They're, beating them up. They're just hurting them. And you can see that he's abusing his power already as the new demon king. And we're introduced, while she's not named at this point, we knew she was coming. Not just from the leaks, but the fact that she's been all over the intro and outro of the show. But the Mass Majin, or Pansy, shows up. She's acting essentially as a freedom fighter, and she throws a wasabi grenade. It doesn't go off. The military police come out to her. They corner her. Goku jumps in, and we have one of the best fight scenes in the series to date. And if you're talking to me, in the series as a whole, and Goku just decimates the military police. And then it's made clear that Goku's going to be a wanted man, which, very similar to GT as well as OG Dragon Ball. So again, I think this was the best episode so far of the series. Every episode gets better as it progresses, which is a good sign. The storytelling was done much better in this one. There were some points where it was kind of like, this is redundant information, and it made me wonder, like, why did they do it twice when they probably could have just introduced those concepts here? But regardless, like I said, the show is getting better. Right now, I know for a lot of American or Western fans, there are some people who are having difficulty getting into it because they are not fans of adventure in Dragon Ball, which is so weird to me. They just want, and it's funny. I'm go off on a tangent, and I think part of the issue is, for Western fans, I really think that the movies, specifically Tree of Might, is what messed up their concept of what Dragon Ball is. And I was thinking about that the other day because I was watching Tree of Might, and I was remembering the fact that there were so many scenes from Tree of Might that were, for one, used in the intro of Rock the Dragon. But two, if you look at the pacing structure of something like a movie, the movies are like an hour long at best. And there's a little bit of story, and they get right into action, and usually the action is done really well. So when the show was on syndication in the U.S., and especially the first year of it, or I should say the second year when they introduced Z, they were running Radix to the Vegeta fight over and over again, and then Tree of Might. That's how it ran. It ran Radix to Vegeta, Tree of Might. So it's like, if you caught it any point in the middle of that, essentially, outside of the Gohan episodes and whatnot, you essentially were catching it right in the middle of battles. So it was just, battle, and cool battle. So there wasn't any searching for the Dragon Balls. There wasn't any adventure. There wasn't anything else. There was barely any characterization beyond, Gohan training and learning from Piccolo. So catching it in the Saiyan arc would have completely warped your perception of what the show is. Again, especially if you're just seeing that and then seeing a movie that was cut into 3 episodes that at the time made you think that these episodes took place later on at some point. Which again, and then when they do start adventuring again, especially all the Planet Namek filler, especially like with Fake Planet Namek, again, you have people complaining about it. And Fake Planet Namek isn't even bad. It's very similar, again, to classic Dragon Ball styles. But again, if you're not used to that, it throws you off. But from everything I've heard from people who are more knowledgeable than me in terms of the production of this series, again, this is an anniversary show, and it's supposed to be not just the anniversary of the original Dragon Ball manga, but also carries us through the other works of Toriyama and of Dragon Ball. So again, the beginning is supposed to be the portion of it that's most like the original. But as the show continues, from what I've been told or what I've heard, is that it will start to feel more like Dragon Ball Z. It'll start to feel more like, or there'll be references to Dragon Ball Heroes and Dragon Ball GT and all this other stuff. So I would say hang in there, because again, if you know Dragon Ball, yes, there's always setup, and then we get into the more focused action. So we'll get there, and even the action we're getting now is really good and done well. But if you're someone who expects everything to be about big key blasts and big transformations and stuff, which is not what Dragon Ball was about for, what, like 200 episodes and 200 some chapters or whatever, then yeah, you're probably going to be a little confused or a little let down. But regardless, like I said, I think we should definitely give the show a chance. If you're really someone out there who is not enjoying it, just don't watch it. Just wait for it to finish and then binge it. But what were your thoughts on the episode? How are you enjoying the series so far? Sound off in the comments below. And with that said, thanks for watching.